Okay, anxiety. Anxiety and worry and fear. Everyone has it, right?
Stress, yes.
And stress. Kids and adults alike are afraid of everything. And now these days, everyone's afraid of everything. According to a survey, some of the worst things that people are afraid of is money worries. Who isn't worried about money? Even billionaires have their anxiety because they have billions of dollars, but they spend millions of dollars. So it's the same thing. Work stress is particularly high, and a lot of people are reporting, you're burned out. The economy, the military conflict, personal health issues, climate change. Although climate change, I don't know. In the 1970s, Time magazine and Newsweek magazine ran articles saying an age, an age, ice age was coming. I don't know if you guys remember those, but I remember it. And then they turn around, no, we're going to be burning up. So it's everyone's has their concern, their worries, and their fears. Now the following lyrics convey what happens when you let your worries take control of your thoughts. The lyrics goes like this. Watch out now. Take care. Beware of the thoughts that linger, winding up inside your head. The hopelessness around you in the dead of night. Beware of sadness. It can hit you. It can hurt you, make you sore, and what is more, that is not what you are here for. Beware of darkness. Now, when darkness and despair come into your mind and come into your life, it can lead you in a path that's not very healthy, and that leads to suicide. In 2023, that's the last year that was fully recorded, all the data, over 49,000 people committed suicide in the United States alone. 49,000. That's one death every 11 minutes. So when I'm finished through this presentation I'm giving to you guys, one person would have committed suicide in the United States. That's how bad it is. A lot of people in different groups commit suicides in a bigger a ratio. Males make 50% of the populations are male, yet they're 80% of the suicide rate, males. Now, if anyone would like to take a guess at the age range where more people commit suicide? 20? Teenagers? 30, you said? I'm sorry? The highest rate of suicide in 2023 was 85 years and older. 85. The seniors were committing more suicide than the young people. The next age group, a lot of people at that age, a lot of people think, you're a burden to your children. People don't come visit you. You're lonely. You can't do that much. Sometimes you're either deaf or you're blind. So, well, they're killing themselves, 85 and older. That's the highest one. The second highest one is 75 through 84. And then the third range is 35 through 44 years old. And the states...
45 to 75,
you're all right. You're looking forward to the next day. Now, the states where more suicide are committed It's, and you'll see why now. It's Wyoming, Montana, Alaska, New Mexico, and South Dakota.
There's nothing to do there.
It's the most rural states of all. The less population of people in those states, and they have a higher suicide rate for some reason. Now, when I was looking at all this data, something popped into that I can see it right away, and I was intrigued, and I really don't have an answer for it. But the month where more people commit suicide for the last 4 years was in August. Why?
It's too hot.
I don't know.
It's too hot.
But August was the peak month where people committed suicide in the last 4 years. Now, obviously, if anyone has, those problems enough that you're thinking, you're thinking about that, get help. Get help. Talk to someone, talk to your minister, talk to someone, get professional help. Suicide hotline. Or go to the mall, do shopping, or do whatever you want, but yeah, do something. Now, the symptoms of stress is anger, anxiety, nervous, lack of interest in things you enjoyed before, lack of motivation, fatigue all the time, feeling overwhelmed with worries, and depression. If you're feeling anything like that, talk to someone, please.
Was that just in the United States?
I'm just talking in the United States. That's the data I got. I got it from the CDC. So that's what I'm getting. Now, a study in 2015 from the American Psychological Association, it was titled Stress in America, Pain with Our Health, showed that the following unhealthy behavior was how most Americans coped with worries, stress, and all that. Watching TV, excess watching TV, more screen time on your computer, social media scrolling, and surfing the internet, sleeping, you oversleep, you're sleeping all the time.
I wish I had more time to sleep.
Overeating, emotional eating, increased drinking of alcohol or substance abuse, smoking or drinking excessive caffeine. But as you know, stress and anxiety have been around from the very beginning. There's nothing new under the sun. We see it in the Bible that everyone in the Bible at some time or another had stress. They had anxiety, but God offered comfort, strength, and solution. And here's some of the key figures in the Bibles that had a lot of stress. And we begin in the beginning. Adam and Eve. Adam and Eve started all the anxiety and fear. When they ate the forbidden fruit, they became afraid. They were afraid of God. They were afraid of the mistake, and they knew they broke the commandments. So they were afraid. That's the first reference of fear in the Bible. They regretted it instantly, but the deed was done. Now, I don't think they knew what the punishment was going to be when finally God came and spoke to them, and what he was going to be imposed. So that really made it more anxious for them. And they were going to be cast out of paradise. So that must have been super, super frightened for them. You know, when you wake up and your most urgent decision of your morning is whether you're going to have figs or a mango for breakfast, and then God comes and says, you know what? You're going to be thrown out here to that burdened place where there's nothing out there, and you're going to have to learn how to do farming, how to preserve food. You're going to be tanning hides to make yourself things to wear. You're going to have to be building shelter, and you're going to do this all through the sweat of your face. Now, God was merciful. Oh, and by the way, all those furry little animals you were playing with in the Garden of Eden, now they want to eat you. So, fear that too. So when they were thrust out of to a barren land, they had to survive on their own. And God was merciful to them because God gave them intelligence so they could survive. And they flourished in that harsh environment. Now the next person who had a lot of anxiety, and we don't think of her very much, but it was Hagar. Many vilify Hagar, but put yourself in her place. She was a slave. She belonged to Sarah. And what was a slave going to tell her when they came and they told her about the plan they wanted with her to have a child with Abraham? Was she going to say no? I don't think she was in that position to say no. And also, in my way of thinking is, she probably thought I might be better off in this situation, because this situation might become favorable for me. Because if I conceive and I have a male child, I might become Abraham's favorite wife. And my son will inherit all these riches. So she might have thought that. But her problem was her pride and her mocking nature. She loved to mock Sarah, and her son imitated her. So when her son mocked Isaac, Sarah said, "That was the last straw. Get out of here." So when they threw her out of the camp, she must have had tremendous fear and anxiety, because now she was going out to a wilderness with just limited water, limited food. And when that ran out, she was overwhelmed with fear and despair and felt completely alone and abandoned. But God heard her cries and provided for her, showing her the well of water to save her son and herself. And God assured her that He had a plan for her son's future. And now they became the Arabs nation. And up to this day, we still have problems because of that decisions. And now we come to Mary, not my Mary, Mary, the mother of Jesus. Talk about stress. When the angel Gabriel appeared to her and announced that she was going to conceive, but not just an ordinary male child, it was going to be the Son of God. And then and we can read it. She said, I haven't been with a man, so how can this be? And the angel reassured her that nothing was impossible for God. But this is not mentioned in the Bible, and it's not even implied. But me as a man, and the men here also, she probably thought, what am I going to tell Joseph when he finds out that I'm pregnant? Well, after all that was settled, we come to another very big worry that they had. They lost Jesus. Remember when they went to Jerusalem for, I think it was unleavened bread? They went, they left. After a day of going back home, they decided to look for him, and he wasn't in the caravan. So they returned to Jerusalem and looked for him for 3 more days. Now, they were given only one job, and that was to protect Jesus. And now they were thinking in their head, we've lost him. We lost him. How can this happen? And after all the things that they went through, you know, God had provided for them everything. Riches from the wise man that came, because I don't think the wise man came with just small little gifts like they portray in Christmas stories where they just bring a little thing. I think that they had brought the amount fit for a king, because they were going to come and visit a king, the king of the Jews. So they brought a very big amount of riches for him. And throughout Jesus' early years, God warned Joseph and Mary of all the dangers and had guided them, so they were safe all the time. And now they lost him. They couldn't find him. And I don't know, maybe Aleida remembers, but I don't remember. We lost in a feast Nicolas one time.
I remember.
It was Hilton Head. Almost everyone there was with the church. So when he asked me, "Can I go out and play after services?" Go ahead, go. And Mary and I, we fellowship with the people, and after a while, we said, "Well, let's go." And where's Nicolas? And we couldn't find him anywhere. And a lot of people from our group started looking for him all over. And we finally found him like a half an hour afterwards, which we were going out of our minds, thinking the worst. And he was in the gift shop, in the book section, seated down, cross-legged, reading a comic book. And no one had saw him before that. So it was an incredible, incredible relief to have found him, only after a half an hour. So just think, they lost Jesus for 4 days. So that must have been terrible, terrible. And we lost Nathan 2 times, but that's another story for another day.
You didn't care about my
Say what happened.
We found him in the long time. And Mary's quoted in Luke 2, verse 28, and when they saw him, they were astonished. And his mother said to him, to Jesus, "Son, why have you dealt with us in this manner? Look, your father and I have been very distressed," not just distressed, very distressed while searching for you. Now, the Greek word for distress is, and I'm going to butcher this, odohonahu. It's all Greek to me. And the definitions for that word is to cause intense pain, to be in anguish, to be tormented, to torment or distress oneself. And that's exactly what that feels like. When you lose one of your sons, you're tormented, you're in anguish, you're in turmoil, because you always think the worst. And now in our society, most of the time when someone young disappears, it's for the worst. Now I have a question for you. Do you think Joseph and Mary disciplined Jesus for doing that stunt?
Yes,
Yes?
I think so.
Anyone else? No?
No, because it was about his father's business.
Yeah, but she said, very distressed.
But it doesn't say that she,
No, it doesn't say anything. I'm just asking, it's, speculation.
I would think,
You think he's disciplined?
I would only think so because when he said that he was doing his father's work, it says later on that they were confused what he said, didn't it?
Yeah.
So I would think maybe.
And afterwards, it says that he came and he surrendered to them. It's not the word surrender, but he came and did what they wanted him to do. So, I don't know, but it's It's a fascinating question. Now, even Jesus himself was anxious at one time because when he was there, that he knew he was going to be crucified, he was very, very, very distressed and full of anxiety and fear. And he told his Father, "Can you pass this cup by me? I don't want to go through this pain. I don't want to go through this suffering. But let it be your will, not mine." And that's what they did. Now, these stories show that anxiety, fear, worry are not new struggles. They are not signs of weak faith. Even great men and women of God wrestle with these emotions. But through each of these examples, we can find that God provides comfort, assurance, and strength. In Philippians 4, verses 6, it says, "Be anxious for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God." Whether he comes as storms, sends an angel with words of peace, or help his people trust in his plan, God offers the same grace and help today when we face our own fears and anxiety. In 1 Peter 5:7, it says, "Be humble, therefore, under the mighty hand of God, so that he may exalt you in due time, casting all your anxiety on him, because he cares for you." So let's take encouragement from all these biblical men and women who turn to God in their moments of fear and trust in him that he will guide us through.